I'ma chase my dream. Yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Transparently D, where I'm keeping it 100% transparent in the life of D. Good morning everyone. How is your 2023 going? Does it seem like it's going fast? It's going fast for me. I have been MIA, and let me first start by saying I apologize. I'm sorry. I really am. Life has really just gotten in the way. I'm just being as honest as I can. And for those, this video is just going to be about an update on parenting and how parenting is going for me. So if you are new here, welcome. I have I have 6 children, and my children are 29, 25, 24, 17, 3, and 1. And yes, I have a 29-year-old and a 1-year-old. And yes, we started all over again. I moved from one state to another after my divorce, and I prayed to God. I said, Lord, I do not want a man who I make more money than him. I don't want a man who I have more education than him. I don't want a man who has children. I did not want a man who had children. I didn't want a man who didn't have his life together. I just did not want that. I can remember my aunt telling me when I was younger, she said, you know, when you pray, you be specific to God. Tell him exactly what you want. Be very specific. And so I was very specific, especially after my season of dating and going through a divorce and things of that nature. And God gave me exactly what I asked for. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. What I didn't factor in is that this man would want his own kids. Because after my 17-year-old, I got my tubes tied. And I did get them reversed. My right tube is just really short, but it is open and it has spillage, and my left tube is still occluded, it's still blocked. So that is why we have 2 children. The 3-year-old and the 1-year-old are a result of IVF. So we did IVF with them and got them, and you can watch those videos on my channel. That whole journey with IVF. So right now I have 6 children. So a lot of times when I come across people and they want to know, like, gosh, is it hard starting over? Is it hard being an older mom, you know, and things of that nature? And I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys. My older kids are much harder than my younger ones. Much harder by far. And I'm doing this video because no one prepared me for that. I can remember when I was having my older kids, I used to be like, oh, when y'all get 18, oh, I can't wait till y'all get 18. Oh, when y'all get 18. I was just trying to get to that 18 mark. And now, I love my children. Another thing about me, if you're new here, I did not grow up with my mom. I wasn't raised with my mother. I was raised with my dad and my stepmom. And then my stepmom died of leukemia when I was really young. I may have been 13, almost 14 years old when she passed away. And then my grandmother, I'm sorry if that's shaking y'all. My grandmother and my daddy raised me. So it was absolutely paramount to me that I be the best mother that I could ever be. So a lot of people refer to me as overbearing as a mother, a helicopter mom, whatever they want to call it. They say I am. And I am, because I did not have my mom. And I really wish I would have had someone to helicopter me, to guide me, to lead me, to get on my case when I'm wrong, and to love me through it. And I didn't have that, you know. But these grown kids, I think my grown kids trying to take me up out of here. They trying to take me out. It's hard for me with my older kids, because there is a point where, as a mom, I have to guide them. I have to lead them. I have to teach them the way to go, right? But there's also a time where you have to absolutely let them hit the wall. It's like you see this wall in front of them, right? And I'm telling them, I'm like, hey, that is a wall. You are going to hit that wall. You need to stop. Go to the right. Go to the left. Don't hit that wall. Don't hit that wall. You know what they do? Boom, hit the goddamn wall. And then they hit the wall and look at me. Mommy, I hit the wall. Didn't I just tell you that was a freaking wall? Didn't I tell you that was a freaking wall? Why are you running into the wall when I told you that is a freaking wall? I always try to guide my children and to be there for them. I literally changed my whole life. If you know me and follow me, you know that I was a MP in the IVF world. So I was a nurse practitioner in vitro fertilization. I totally changed my entire career. I stepped into a arena of nursing that I never thought I wanted to be in, and that's pediatric medicine. I never thought I wanted to do anything with peds, because I was like, I need somebody to tell me it hurt here. Don't just cry and then I have to figure out what's wrong. So I always like, oh no, I don't want to do peds. I don't want to do peds. I don't want to do peds. I stepped into the peds arena. Why? Because my daughter, my 3-year-old, has been diagnosed with autism. And this is information that I have shared with no one. Nobody knows. Maybe I think my sister knows, but nobody else knows that my daughter was diagnosed with autism other than her father, me, of course her doctors, and my 17-year-old and my sister. And my other kids, I think my other kids know too, yeah. So my daughter is very high functioning. So people who encounter her, it's like, oh, I would have never known that she was autistic. But my daughter was having all out tantrums, like something I have never ever experienced or seen before. She was pulling out her hair. It had a whole bald spot right here in the back of her head and right here. I'll post pictures. I'll try to insert pictures of her hair where she was pulling out her hair, literally scratching herself and spitting on herself. And she's just like, I just want to bite myself. I just want to scratch myself. Now, mind you, I had stepped into the pediatric arena because when I only want to work the weekends. I don't want to work during the week. I only want to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because when the daycare calls me about my daughter, I want to be ready and available. Sometimes she will be at school and she was, I just want my mommy. And then they'll call me and I'm like, I'm en route. I'm coming to get you right now. And what I learned through going to, okay, so this was another thing. She was having these all-out tantrums, right? I wanted to get her tested for autism. However, they told me it was a 2-year waiting list to even get tested. I said, listen to me. I said, I clock in with your company full time. There is no way that you're going to tell me I have to wait 2 years. No way. And they was like, oh, you work here? Yes, I work here. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll get you in. And so I was able to get in, get an appointment, get a diagnosis, and get her the help that she needs. An ABA therapist, a regular therapist, play therapy, and legal tech. All within maybe 2 weeks' time. So one thing we learned with the therapist is that when she's stimming is what they call it. That's when she's overstimulated or she's feels out of control with her emotions or whatever. They would call and I would go get her. Her therapist is like, no, don't do that. Don't go get her, because you are teaching her that if she show out or she have a tantrum or she cry or she asks for you, that you will just come pick her up. So then she don't have to go to school. I just want my mommy, and then we'll go and get her. And then he said that was the wrong thing to do. So what we started doing was going up there. Either I would go up there or her father would go up there, and we would just sit in the class with her and be there, with her. As long as she could see us, she's fine. But then he was like, nope, don't do that either. She needs to learn her independence. What we ended up doing was changing her schools. And the therapist was like, it is something going on in that building that is absolutely triggering her. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we don't care what it is. She just needs to get out of that environment. And so we took her out of that school and put her in another school. Absolutely 360-degree turn. Sometimes she does stem, and she does have like ups and downs, but it's nothing like it was at the prior school. Nothing like that at all. So she's not on any medications or anything like that, and she does get to the point where she wants mommy and daddy or whatever, and we'll call up there and check on her, see how she's doing, and if she's having a hard time, they'll put her on the phone and we'll talk to her on the phone. We have gone up there and sat in class with her, but it's not as frequently. Like at the other daycare, we was doing it every single day, but at the new school, it's not as frequent. I've been up there 2 or 3 times, and I think her dad has been up there once. So she is doing much better. She is able to talk, and she does communicate and tell us how she's feeling. She'll say, I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated. She's only 3. It's just, I'm so frustrated. And, we just teach her, you have to use your words. You don't have to cry. Use your words. Talk to us and tell us what's going on and things of that nature, and just working with her. So that is really like the biggest thing that I have been dealing with the little kids. Other than Doctor is now more independent, walking and running and talking, and like he is like fighting and and doing all kind of stuff. But he's just a boy. He's a boy's boy. And Skylar is a girl's girl. Like, she is so girly. She loves pink. She loves baby dolls. She loves hair. She loves makeup. She loves nails. We take her to get her nails done, everything. So she is really like a girly girl. So that's the update with Dr. and Skylar, my 3 and 1-year-old. I have 2 daughters, Skylar and my 25-year-old. My 25-year-old did a 360 on me. Broke my freaking heart, man. And I'm not saying this to make her feel bad if she comes across this video. I don't know if she still watch my YouTube videos or not. She was my only girl for so long. And one way that I always described her was like, and I'm sorry, y'all, I get real emotional about my kids. I used to always describe her as, my baby's a good girl. My baby's a good girl. She has always, her whole life, been a good girl. Very meek, very mellow, very obedient, very calm, very nurturing and loving, and she is still all of that. But she just went through like some times in her life where she made decisions that were not the best decisions for her. And I used to always teach my kids, because I was a young mother. I had my oldest child when I was 15. I had her 4 days after I turned 15. And like I always told them, your decisions, the choices you make, will directly affect how your life goes. So if you make a bunch of bad decisions, a bunch of bad stuff is going to happen. If you make a bunch of good decisions, a bunch of good stuff will happen. Either way it go, like your decisions are going to absolutely, positively, directly affect your life. And she made bad decisions. And I think that the brain makes decisions based on the information that it has. And based on the information that she had at that time, I think that she made the best decision that she knew how to make. But like for me, I made a lot of bad decisions in life, but I made the bad decisions in life because I didn't have a mom to call on. You know, my dad had passed away, and I couldn't call my dad. I had to just try to remember the morals, cultures, values, and beliefs that he had given me. But my daughter has a mom. She has a mom and a dad, but she has a mom that she can pick up the phone and she can call me and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm up against. What do I do? But instead of her doing that, she hid it. But one thing is that God will always show me what's going on with my kids. Always. He always show me what's going on with my children. So that I knew she was in a terrible situation. She works really hard. She's a very hard worker. She loves to work. But what we did not want her to do is we didn't want her to get a job and forget about school, you know, and start making money, and all of a sudden school is not important because she's making money. Well, that's exactly what happened. She ended up at this job that she had been with for years. They kept promoting her, and she was making, you know, enough money for her to sustain her life with what she wanted to do. And she dropped out of school. And then she was dating this guy who's way older than her. But at first I was like, he too old for you. But I ended up liking him, and I really thought that he was a good guy for her. He was career driven. He, was making good money. He was taking her out on dates and taking her on trips and all kind of stuff. I'm like, this is like how a man is supposed to treat you. He's supposed to treat you good. He's supposed to buy you flowers. He's supposed to buy you things that you need. Not that you don't do that for yourself, but I'm just telling you, like, he was really there for her. And she told me he was boring. She dumped him because he was boring. Baby, at that point, I knew she needed to be groomed a little bit more. She needed to come back home and be trained a little bit more. And then she got with this young kid who was absolutely terrible to her. And God had already dropped that thing in my spirit that this dude was of the devil, But that's not my story to tell. That's her story. And if she chooses to tell her story, she can tell her story. Maybe we could do a sit down and do a Q&A together with what she went through, and maybe that will help her heal a little bit more too. That video will come a little later. I need to converse with her about that. Long story short, I was just like, I need to go get my daughter. She needs to come back home. She needs to be re-groomed and re-raised, and not re-raised, but she just needs a little bit more grooming before I let her run free in the world. So now she's back home. She's doing really well, and that is something that I'm working on with her right now. My 24-year-old is the reason that I moved from Florida from the beginning. He had started to get into trouble, was hanging with the wrong people, was going to juvenile, and I said, no sir. I had to get him out of his comfort zone and get him somewhere where he was unfamiliar, so that he would not fall by the wayside. And I did that. He graduated and went out to college too. Decided that he was going to take a semester off. That was 2 years ago, and he has not been back since. And his story is his story too. I'll do an interview with him as well to see, so that you all can hear it from him and not from me. But I'm just like dealing with, don't do that. That's not right. Why are you doing that? That's not right. Do you understand that you're sowing these seeds, man? And if you sow bad seeds, man, you're going to get a bad harvest, man. You got to stop doing that. Like, I'm just like trying my best to get him to make better decisions in life, man, so that it does not cost you everything. You know what I mean? This boy like brick walls. He like brick walls. And he runs straight into them. And then he's like, oops, I hit the brick wall. Mommy, can you help me? Mommy, I need this. Mama. I'm like, no. Because I told you not to do X, Y, and Z. Why would you do X, Y, and Z when I told you not to do X, Y, and Z? And then he's like, you don't understand. You've never struggled before. You've never been through this. And so he was telling my 29-year-old, Mommy don't know what it's like to struggle. Mommy don't know what it's like out here in this real world. Mommy don't know. Mommy this, Mommy that. And my oldest son, mind you, I had him at 15. So my 29-year-old grew up with me. And he was like, where were you? What house you was raised in? Because yes, Mommy did struggle. Mommy just made it happen, And so he's like, I don't remember that. Well, she should have told us that she was struggling. This is what he said to me. He said, this is your fault because you never told us that you were struggling. You never told us that you was having a hard time. So this is your fault. It's my fault. First of all, you're a kid. It's none of your business if I'm struggling or not. Your job is to go to school, get good grades, do your chores, play outside, have fun, live life. It's not your business what is going on financially. It's not your business what struggles I'm having emotionally. It's none of your business. You're a kid. You need to stay in a kid's place, period. It's none of your business. I shouldn't have to come to you and tell you anything about what's going on because you are a child. You're my child. So therefore, I'm just going to make it happen. So now my 24-year-old is making decisions that are less than what I would want him to make. And so I'm trying to groom him and guide him and get him to make better decisions. And we will do a sit down with him as well and do a Q&A with him and just talk to him about him and his life. My 29-year-old is a little bit more rational, I guess, because he's knocking on 30. But he has made decisions that I am not in agreement with. He has made decisions that I don't think he should have made. He's done things that I don't think he should have done. And I think we all have, though. You know, I just wish somebody would have told me that, oh, you think parenting ends at 18? You just wait. You just wait until you have to figure out how to parent them and how to let them be adults at the same time. I literally had to fall on my knees in prayer. And I said, Jesus, I need you. I need you now, Lord God. And I need you to teach me how to parent my grown children. Lord God, I need you to teach me how to parent my grown children, because I'll never be their friend. You have some people that go out and party and club and smoke weed and drink and all this other stuff with their kid. I'm not your friend. We're not equals. I'm not your comrade. What? Go do what with you? We're not friends. I will never be your friend. I will always be your mother. Always be your mother. Never will I be your friend. You understand me? Never. So I don't hang out with my kids. I don't go to clubs with my kids. I'm not doing any of this crazy stuff with my children because I'm their mother. And that's how they need to look at me, like I'm their mother. And when I say do something, that's what you need to do, because I will never lead you in the wrong direction. I will never lead you to a brick wall. I will never do anything to hurt you. I have tried my best to set these kids up to win in life. I never wanted my children to have kids out of wedlock. I taught these kids, y'all. I taught these kids, man. I taught them. I taught them. I taught them. I don't know why they didn't listen. I taught these kids. I taught them about sexuality. I talked to them about sexually transmitted disease. I talked to them about putting on the condom. I talked to them about marriage. I talked to them about relationships. I talked to these kids about finances and credit. I talked to them about it because then nobody talked to me about it. I talked about it. I talked about it, loaning people money, saving money. I taught these kids, man. And they straight just bucked the system. Bucked the system, man. Broke my freaking heart. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Like that thing with my daughter. With my 25-year-old. Well, when I tell you that thing where I could have just, if I had not had my two younger kids when she was going through, I probably would have took myself out. Well, cause that thing hurt so bad to watch her going through that. It hurt so bad to hear her sit in my face and tell a bold face, lie to me like I'm not smart enough to know that you lying to me. You understand? Like, I don't know you enough to know that you're lying to me. That thing, woo, woo. Because she was my only girl. You know, this my girl. You understand me? This my baby. She gonna pledge. She going to college. She gonna be college educated. She is beautiful. She's a beautiful young girl. Beautiful girl. Oh, my baby uppity. She not gonna fall for this foolishness that these raggedy men out here telling her. She ain't falling for that. Oh, my baby would never do that. And what happened was my expectations of my older children were expectations of what I wanted for them, not what they wanted for themselves. And one of the hardest things that I had to face and encounter was that my desires for them are not their desires for them. And it is unfair for me to put my desires off on them. Like my oldest baby is super smart, man. I'm talking about, I can remember I was in college and I was taking statistics. And at this time, he was a little boy. He was probably 8. And I was at the table doing a problem. Again, if you've taken college statistics, you know one problem can literally take up a whole page to figure it out or whatever. And so I'm doing this statistic problem for homework. And he came to the table and he was like, "Oh, Mama, you're doing that wrong." And I was like, "Boy, this college work, you don't know what you're talking about. This and that." And he was like, "Okay." And he walked off. And then I got all the way to the end and that freaking problem was wrong. And I called it back to the table. I was like, "Well, how did you know that this was wrong?" And he was like, "I don't know, but that's not right." And so I was like, "Okay, well, you do it." And he was able to do that whole freaking problem. He was able to do that whole problem by himself at 8 years old. On his SATs, he scored like a 1875 on his SAT. And all his life, I thought that he would be a doctor. I was like, "Oh, my baby gonna be a doctor. My baby is super smart. He gonna be a doctor. He gonna be a doctor. He gonna be a doctor." Not knowing that that was not in his plan. That's not what he wanted to do. You know. And my oldest son is in Florida. He's the only one that's not here with me. So doing a Q&A with him may be just a tad bit more difficult. But I want to do a Q&A with all of my kids. You know. And kind of just get their perspective on me as a mom and like what I did wrong and what can I do better. And if I was overbearing, I just want them to be totally transparent and you know, really like tell their side of the story. And y'all forgive me for crying, because like I really love kids. It like sometimes they would do stuff or make a decision, and I would tell my husband, I'll be like, "Man, I don't know where I went wrong, I don't know where I went wrong that they're making this decision. And he have to tell me all the time, he's like, babe, that's not your fault. That's not your fault. You did what you were supposed to do. But they have to do the right thing. They have to apply the information that you gave them. And if they don't apply the information that you gave them, that's not your fault. But it feels like my fault, y'all. It feels like my fault. Like, I failed them. It is something that I didn't teach them. It's something that I didn't do right. It's something that I must have overlooked. I've always tried to be very conscious of the men that I bring around my kids. Because what I need parents to understand is that when you're dating someone, your kids are dating them too. Your kids are involved with them as well. So I never wanted to date somebody that did drugs and drank a lot or abusive or aggressive. I never wanted that. No, I got a video up where a guy I was dating ended up killing his baby's mom and his baby. And a lot of people on there was like, I hope that you know that you deserve better than that, and that you shouldn't be dating guys like that and this and that. And I am fully aware of that, and I thank you guys so much for giving me those comments and things of that nature, because honest to God, that's not my intention. I've always been like aware of who I bring around my kids. This guy just caught me off guard. And I was already in the thick of things before I realized what this guy was. But I thank God that he let me live through that. You know, I was nothing but Jesus, you know. So I just wanted to come on here and let you guys know that parenting don't stop at 18. It don't stop at 18. As a matter of fact, it gets so hard after 18. Because you have to know when to parent them and when to let them be adults, and when to help them make a decision, and when to let them make a decision, and when to let them hit that brick wall, and when to let them pick themselves up. And that is something that I have not mastered as of yet. But I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a video with each one of my older kids, and I am going to get their version of it. Until then, thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you so much for listening to me. And if you have any advice for me with these older kids, even if you're an older child and you have a mom, and just tell me like why they making these decisions or anything, please drop it down in the comments. I always try to respond to people who respond to me, because I appreciate you taking your time. I appreciate you watching my videos. I appreciate you, you know, giving me words of encouragement in the comments. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you and chatting with you in the comments. And I will be back to do a question and answer, or sit downs with my older children. Thank you. Remember what we say. Keep your faith on fleek, and always strive to be on top, because the bottom is already too crowded. Peace.
My dreams, everything alright, everything alright. I'ma chase my dreams, everything go right, everything go right. I'ma chase my dreams, everything alright, everything alright. I'ma chase my dreams, everything alright, everything